Today, we will explore John chapter 10, which is set against the backdrop of the Jewish festival of Hanukkah. Hanukkah, also known as the Feast of Dedication, commemorates the rededication of the Second Temple after its desecration by Antiochus Epiphanes. During Hanukkah, the festival occurs in winter and is marked by the lighting of candles. In this chapter, during the Feast of Dedication, Jesus was in the temple area walking in the Solomon's colonnade. The Jews gathered around him saying, "How long will you keep us in suspense? If you are the Christ, tell us plainly." Jesus answered, "I did tell you, but you do not believe. The miracles I do in my Father's name testify about me." By this, Jesus reveals that he is the Son of God and the Messiah. He also declares, "I and the Father are one," affirming his divinity and his role as the true Lord of the temple. As a result, some Jews consider this blasphemy and attempt to stone him. Despite this, many others believe in him. In the following chapter, John 11, Jesus performs the miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead. This miracle, unique to the Gospel of John, reveals the core message John seeks to convey. The Gospel of John is often divided into two sections, chapters 2 to 12, known as the Book of Signs, and chapters 13 to 20, known as the Book of Glory. The Book of Signs contains 7 miracles that demonstrate Jesus as the Son of God, while the Book of Glory describes how Jesus reveals God's glory through his final actions, including the Last Supper and his crucifixion. Jesus performs many miracles, but in John's Gospel, these miracles are specifically called signs to emphasize their symbolic meaning. The signs reveal God's glory and the perfect salvation provided by Jesus, liberating creation from suffering and deficiency. Jesus performs 7 signs, starting with turning water into wine at the wedding in Cana, healing the royal official's son, healing the paralyzed man at the pool of Bethesda, feeding the 5,000, walking on water, healing the man born blind, and culminating in raising Lazarus from the dead. Each sign demonstrates Jesus' divine authority and his mission to bring people to faith in him and eternal life. The raising of Lazarus is a profound sign of why Jesus came to earth, to give eternal life. Jesus declares, "I am the resurrection and the life." He calls to Lazarus, "Lazarus, come out." And Lazarus, who had been dead for 4 days, emerges from the tomb, still bound in grave clothes. Witnessing such a miracle, it is hard to doubt that Jesus is the one who has power over life and death. Upon hearing that Lazarus, whom he loved, was sick, Jesus says, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." He waits 2 more days before going to Bethany, revealing to his disciples that Lazarus has died, and says, "I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe." Jesus aims to deepen their faith by demonstrating that even after 4 days of death, believed by Jews to be the point of no return, he can still restore life. Only God can raise the dead. By raising Lazarus, Jesus reveals himself as the one who gives life and will also resurrect the dead at the final resurrection. This supreme sign leads many Jews to believe in Jesus as the Son of God. However, some inform the Pharisees, leading the chief priests and Pharisees to plot to kill Jesus from that day on. Ironically, the raising of Lazarus accelerates the plot against Jesus, leading to his crucifixion. The high priest prophesies that Jesus will die for the nation and for the scattered children of God. Jesus, as the Good Shepherd, enters Jerusalem to lay down his life for his sheep. Jesus asks Martha, "Do you believe this?" affirming that he is the resurrection and the life. Just as he raised Lazarus, Jesus will raise us on the last day. Do you believe that Jesus is the resurrection and the life? Just as he asked Martha 2,000 years ago in Bethany, Jesus asks us today, do you believe this? May we understand God's life-giving word through reading, hearing, and speaking it aloud, and may God's grace be with us in this understanding. I bless you in the name of Jesus.